the chances for some of these storms to be tornadic, and we do have one tornado warning in place right now, again, until 2:15 p.m. Does include the city of Albert Lea. You look at velocity here. We're going to zoom on in and look at the couplet. It's a clear couplet. Right now, thank you, Guifeng, for going in between Max and myself here on the desk. But here is your couplet. If I get my tool and you see the reds and the greens, that couplet is right there. That is where the circulation is located at this time, just northeast of the city of Albert Lea. It is tracking towards the northeast as well. Going to be getting close to Highway 251 here relatively soon, out towards Newry, and eventually nearing that Mower County line in between the Mower County and Freeborn County. That is where this tornado, confirmed again, is on the ground. There has been debris, is going to be tracking. So we have the mention of debris, of course, from the National Weather Service. So we might as well use our debris signature tracker. If I throw it up here, and I mean, yes, you can sort of see that debris. It's tough. It's really tough because of the bad radar data we do have. But if we co-locate the velocity and our correlation coefficient debris tracker, I'm thinking right here. Generally right here is where we are seeing those differing colors. So some debris might be getting lofted up into the atmosphere, and that is where this tornado is likely on the ground. So that will be something we watch very closely here as we go throughout the next several minutes. I'm looking up some Minnesota Department of Transportation traffic cameras. Maybe we'll see something along I-35. It's possible. Maybe we'll have to probably get that through our iNet computer. I'm sure Nick can help us out with that, Guifeng, if you help or tell him that we can get that up and going. At least for the immediate future, our biggest concern is still this tornado warning. The couplet, obviously, of interest, we will say. Nice reds, nice greens right next to each other. Of course, just east of I-35, north of I-90. So basically northeast of that I-90, I-35 interchange. It's a pretty busy one. I will say 2 major interstates that go north and south through the entire country, east and west through the entire country. As many of us know, I-90, the longest interstate highway in the United States. But still, north of that corridor is where this couplet is located, and that's where the tornado is going to be located right now. It is around 1:39 this afternoon. We do have this tornado warning in place through around 2:15 this afternoon. That is our one major concern at this time. A damaging tornado spotted by weather spotters. Flying debris as well, just northwest of the city of Albert Lea. Just looking through some more information from our National Weather Service partners in La Crosse. Some severe concerns. They are saying this. One of the main meteorologists there, I forget his title, but the Warning Coordination Meteorologist, I think it is, WCM, Mike Kurz, he is saying that some severe concerns are escalating quickly in this favorable environment for supercells, which are those rotating storms that are able to produce tornadoes. If I throw up radar, you're seeing those isolated cells, mainly out towards, say, Decorah, and you're starting to notice they are spinning somewhat. They're very small, but still, you have some hooks on there. Small hooks, we will say, but still, they are looking rather interesting, we will say, ahead of this main line of storms that is bringing us this one tornado warning just to the northwest of Albert Lea at this time. Other information regarding this, we're watching all the activity closely. This is from the National Weather Service again for potential tornado development. Also keeping a close eye on this congealing line of storms that is approaching Dodge and Mower counties and Mitchell and Floyd counties at this time. As I've mentioned earlier, there is that potential for some spin-up tornadoes along this line. Of course, that is the one big concern. We call them QLCS tornadoes, quasi-linear convective system tornadoes, and we'll really keep a very close eye on that potential as we go through the next couple of hours. Of course, that's when our tornado threat is going to be maximized. So it's a big concern. A very favorable environment for this tornadic activity. Of course, we'll be on air as we have tornado warnings being issued left and right, more than likely as we head through this afternoon and this evening. Another thing that is of interest, I'll go back to this isolated cell development, we'll call it, mainly out towards far southeastern Minnesota and North Iowa. The National Weather Service is keeping an eye on these for what they call, it's a fair term, we'll say, mainly just based on the structure of these storms. We call them kidney bean structure. They look like kidney beans, very small, very kidney bean-esque, we'll call them. Got a nice little tail. I'll zoom on this right here, Guai-Fang. You can stay on me. Right here, this little tail. That's the hooks starting to show that these storms are starting to rotate, and that will be the biggest concern. Of course, these are near that Wisconsin county line, or state line, the Wisconsin state line, and they're moving out generally towards the east, I believe. If I put this on the last hour. Okay, so more north than easterly. That is thanks to these south winds that are really pulling in and allowing all these cells to move up from, say, North Iowa in towards southeast Minnesota, this one specifically near Houston County, and that will eventually track up in towards Wisconsin and be out of our hairs. So each one of these cells, call them the kidney bean structure cells, they do have that threat to become tornadic here in the immediate future. And that's why we have the tornado watch that is out at this time. This tornado watch is in place for almost everybody. All of southeast Minnesota, excluding Goodhue County at this time. All of North Iowa, excluding, say, Winnebago, Hancock, Worth, and Cerro Gordo counties. That's under the National Weather Service Des Moines regime. So everybody else included, name them off: Wabasha, Steele, Dodge, Olmsted, Winona, Freeborn, Mower, Fillmore, Houston, Mitchell, Howard, Winneshiek, Chickasaw, and Floyd counties. If you live in those counties, you are under this tornado watch and under the threat for tornadoes as we head through this afternoon and in towards this evening. Kind of look at the grand scheme of things here. You zoom out and you look at the whole entire region. You have this line of storms. That's going to hold on to our threat for some quick spin-up tornadoes as we head in towards this afternoon. I think that's what we're seeing here near Albert Lee. Ahead of the line, as we mentioned earlier in daybreak, that is those isolated cells that are going to be spinning as we go through this afternoon and producing that chance for some tornadoes. As for right now, the one big thing is that tornado warning. Sarah is in now, so she's getting all ready, and we're going to have a tag team effort here throughout this afternoon. But here is your one tornado warning. We'll throw on some velocity for you, and we'll show you this couplet. Northwest of Albert Lee at this time along Highway 251. That is where it is. The couplet located right here. We'll draw it for you very easily with our tool. Right there. That's where it's located, moving towards the north and east at this time. Other than that, there is not really much that is going to be mentioned from the National Weather Service. I'm just looking through some information. They are constantly updating us with stuff regarding our tornado threat today. Other than the funnels that have been reported south of Albert Lee, the new information as of a couple minutes ago, the tornado is confirmed on the ground 3 miles west of Hayward, Minnesota. So that tracks pretty closely. And as we go into the next couple of minutes, they are waiting for this to be extended. They did just extend it, didn't they? The National Weather Service in the Twin Cities has extended this tornado warning. So it does go in towards portions of Steele County right now, although this might be a second circulation. So, okay, that's very interesting. So here is your two circulations at this time. We have the one that is in northwest Freeborn County currently. Draw for you right there. It's rather weaker than what it was earlier, but then you have this interesting one, rather broad, but still looking rather strong, just north of Blooming Prairie. So it does appear that within this line, we're getting multiple sets of circulations north and south through it. And that's going to be the case here as we go through a large part of our day. Each little circulation is going to be able to develop along a kink in this line. So obviously we have a kink north of Blooming Prairie. That's why there is a tornado warning in place for Steele County. Another kink in the line just there northwest of Albert Lee in Freeborn County. So that's why we have these tornado warnings in place at this time. We'll get you some specs on this one warning. Let me do some magic here and put this up, and we have, it appears, let me go back here. 3 tornado warnings in effect right now. 1 in North Iowa, 2 in southeast Minnesota at this time. This line is very active. It is producing tornadoes left and right, at least tornado warned circulations. So let's go down the line, why don't we? This 1 tornado warning in Steele County. It includes the cities of Blooming Prairie, Havana, Somerset, and Summit. It is issued until 2 p.m. this afternoon, so that's another 13 minutes on the dial. You go south in towards northwest Freeborn County. That's where the circulation is right now. Tornado warning in place. Albert Lee, you're in the clear. You don't have to worry about it anymore. If you can hear my voice, you are in the most interior portion of your room or of your structure, sturdy structure. Hopefully it's a house. You're safe. Albert Lee is okay. It's locations north and west of the city right now, heading towards Blooming Prairie, that we are under the gun for that tornadic signature to move on through. This tornado warning issued until 2:15 this afternoon, so about another 30 minutes. Let's dive south, going south of the Minnesota-Iowa border, that border we love so much, and towards Cerro Gordo and Worth counties. This tornado warning in place until 2:30 p.m. Mason City, you are not included in this tornado warning. Manly, Northwood, and Worth County, you are under this tornado warning. Let's throw up some velocity for you so you can see it. Not surprised, we're fighting 2 different radar sites, so I think this is the best one. We're pulling from the Twin Cities right now. Right there's the circulation. It's right over I-35 right now, so we might be able to see that on any Iowa DOT camera, so it's possible, but at least this is a radar indicated tornado. It is not confirmed at this time, which is great news. We don't want to see a confirmed tornado tag on any tornado warning. If we can keep these radar indicated, not have a confirmation, will be good. Just a lot of spinning in our atmosphere right now, and that is giving us that threat for tornadoes. Of course, this will be continuing as we head throughout this whole afternoon and towards the evening. So we have 3 tornado warnings. This is kind of what we want to call a quote-unquote ring of fire. This is typically what we see with a dry line setup in the southern United States. That dry line coming in out of West Texas and western Oklahoma, and it's battling the very moist air ahead of it, and that's able for some supercells to develop. But obviously, this go around, it is a line of storms producing some spin-up tornadoes along it. So if we zoom out to a more, there we go, that's a better view of the shaded polygons. You have your 3 tornado warnings in place. I'll take off the lightning so we can see this a little bit better. Take off the radar, sweeping reflectivity. There's your tornado warnings, clear as day. Some high cloud heights with these. You see how white these clouds are. That is the very tall clouds, a very clear sign of a strong storm, strong line of storms being able to produce tornadic circulations along this entire line. And just so happens to be the I-35 corridor that is under the gun right now as we head throughout this afternoon in towards this evening. This threat will only continue because back to the east, we are open for business right now. A lot of sunshine, a lot of moisture, temperatures in the 80s. Dew points I've watched this whole entire day climb up into the upper 70s. I believe Decorah right now in Charles City have a dew point of around 77 degrees. This is an amply warm and moist air mass for these storms to get going. So yes, very active as we go through the next several hours. If we throw radar back up, you see this line of storms continuing its march eastward, still under the gun with these 3 tornado warnings at this time. Any information from the National Weather Service is just rather broad, but still, it's a lot to tackle here over the next couple of hours. I believe, are you mic'd? Okay.
Yes, I'm mic'd up now. Hello, everyone. Meteorologist Sarah Knox here, joining in with Hunter, just getting the scoop as well as we take a look at these 3 tornado warnings going through the immediate area. Day number 2 of these storms holding through, and I was kind of listening in as I was getting my mic on and everything. Hunter, you were saying that there is a confirmed tornado. Which one is that?
That is the one northwest of Albert Lee at this time.
Okay. So keeping an eye on that, of course, and all the spin-ups that we are seeing. Very interesting in the difference here when it comes to this particular storm versus how things looked yesterday when things were a little more scattered, more isolated. This is trying to line up from what I can see, and just spitting out these little spin-ups, and because of that, thus the tornado warnings. And yeah, we're right there at the edge of the radar again, as I know Hunter has been explaining, so it's a little difficult to try to pinpoint some of that velocity, but we do the best with the tools that we have. And tell me a little bit, where are we seeing that spin-up? What was the National Weather Service saying, Hunter? Was it near Blooming Prairie, near Clark's Grove? Where are we seeing that?
It's pretty broad at this time, Sarah, but I mean, it does appear that it's sort of right here. It used to be a bit tighter.
Okay.
I'll back it up a little bit for you over the last hour, but you can clearly see it right there.
Yes.
Just off of the screen, I'll move it
down. Right here.
And as we went in time, it started to weaken. So generally, I think this is where it is right now. So yeah, it'll be something to watch closely here in the immediate future.
That's right here on Minnesota 251, just outside of Clark's Grove, heading towards Blooming Prairie. And it does look like Blooming Prairie is included in a separate tornado warning there. Just kind of a line of them following the line of the storms that almost seem to have lined up with 35 here, just gaining strength as it passed over the interstate. And just as Hunter was mentioning, we have a lot of sunshine in the southeast corner of our viewing area right now. And that sunshine, that's fuel for these storms, that heat. And as he was saying, dew points in the 70s. I mean, I was just running on in here. You could feel it. Very, very hot out there. Very, very humid. So once again, the atmosphere just absolutely ripe, ready for these storms. That sounds like another warning possibly coming through.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
Gotcha. All right. So we also have severe thunderstorms going along with these tornado warnings. No surprise there. Kind of watching this here north of Blooming Prairie. Is this the extension? I see it right here.
It is very big.
Yes, right here. A very, very large, there it is. There we go. Very large area is now under a severe thunderstorm warning, including Rochester and a good chunk of Olmsted County. It looks like all of Dodge County is included in this. Almost all of it. A little difficult to see, and I'm not surprised. I was watching this right here. We're starting to see a bit of a bow, something that we saw yesterday as well, in almost the exact same spot. So what that means is that we've got the potential for some very strong winds here, not to mention the tornado warning that's attached to it. So there's some spin up going on, but now I think the National Weather Service is starting to see that this could be potentially more of a wind event versus that spin of the tornado, thus the extension of the severe thunderstorm warning versus an extension of the tornado warning. So we're going to keep our eyes on this one right here. This looks like very strong winds just getting pushed out from that thunderstorm. Very broad, as we've been saying, a lot of space there as it's moving through just north of Blooming Prairie, heading toward Casson, Rochester, Byron. Dodge Center is pretty close by as well. Thus the very large area that is currently under this severe thunderstorm warning. And Hunter, any details from the National Weather Service on this particular storm?
Yeah, Sarah, so it's warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, that basic threat there. That is the one big thing, because obviously we've we're talking about it right now, that Boeing segment just south of Highway 14. That's where the strongest winds are going to be located. And if it's tracking eastward, or maybe even just a slight east-northeasterly track, it's going to go right in for Rochester. So yeah, Rochester, you're under the gun right now. You just got that warning through either a weather radio, the KIMT Storm Track 3 weather app, or any other alert. That is to alert you that this storm is on the way, and it's going to come here pretty soon. So if you know anyone that's out and about right now, thankfully, they made the right call and canceled Thursday's downtown today. That is wonderful news. Thank you for doing that, because this severe warned storm is on the way to Rochester at this time, Sarah. And I will mention one thing, too. Sorry, before I cut you off again. We were talking about that confirmed tornado there in Albert Lea. From the emergency manager out of the Freeborn County Sheriff's Office, there's trees and power lines down on the south side of Albert Lea near Margaretha Avenue. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Margaretha Avenue area. So that is maybe a sign of that tornado touchdown and cause some damage.
Absolutely, and that is still an ongoing threat right now, still an ongoing tornado warning right here. This was a confirmed tornado warning, as Hunter was alluding to me and telling all of you earlier on. It's difficult to see exactly where some of that spin up could be at this current point in time, but we are seeing, different things mingled in there. Long story short, it's still an ongoing threat. Yeah, maybe right here, right here. Yeah. Okay, thanks for zooming in there. That's what we're thinking right now is where this is. So this looks like it is heading toward Blooming Prairie right now, this tornado. This was once confirmed, unsure at this current point in time, but point is, if you're in a tornado warning, please get into your safe space. It was something we said many times yesterday. It's something we will say many times once again today, just because we have that favored atmosphere for these spin-ups, for these strong bows all at once. Basically, severe weather. That is what we've got going on right now, and we'll continue to see throughout the rest of these next couple hours for sure. How quickly is this particular system moving, this storm here, Hunter?
It's moving at 25 miles an hour, so another slow mover like we saw yesterday. To the north and east too, so Blooming Prairie, yeah, it's coming straight for you, pretty much. We'll say that. And if you time it out here, if I clear everything and use our little squall line tool, we'll stake that up toward the north and east, around 25 miles an hour. There you go. Blooming Prairie, you're coming in 3 minutes. That's all you got. It's coming in at 2 p.m. 209 to Westfield, Ashland at 2:37. Dodge Center eventually coming in at around 2:44. Hopefully that tornado signature doesn't last that long, but still the potential is there. Sarah?
Absolutely, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this interacts with this bow that we have coming straight for Dodge Center as well, and just passing Blooming Prairie. We're talking this severe warned storm just to the north of that tornado warned storm, which is also combined with this one here, this tornado warning. So it'll be interesting to see how these two interact as they come closer and closer together. So back to the severe thunderstorm warning that we have here to the north. This is a very clear signature of winds just getting pushed out. Very strong winds. That 60+ mile per hour possibility is right here, and thus the severe thunderstorm warning that we have seen for Casson, for Dodge Center, for Rochester, for Byron. I just named a whole bunch of cities along 14, but Vernon, you're included in this as well, and West Concord, you as well. There's many different townships and areas within this very large severe thunderstorm warning. So a couple different things. It's nice that they do fit on the same section of the map, but again, Blooming Prairie, you're under the gun at the moment. Dodge Center, you are in the path. We'll see how these two do interact with each other just as they get closer and closer to each other. I'm talking about the spin from this confirmed tornado and then the Boeing winds that we see just to the north of it. Further to the south you're going now, Hunter. It looks like, is this a new tornado warning or is this a existing?
This is existing. This is one of the 3 that have been issued, Sarah.
Okay.
One thing from the National Weather Service, well, it looks like they just canceled it, so that's good news. But earlier this storm did have a pretty decent couplet with it, and that was noted with a rotating, it was seen, rotation observed northwest of the Mason City Airport. And given that favorable environment, yeah, we're going to see these rotate pretty quickly and drop tornadoes fairly quickly, just like we saw yesterday. But the National Weather Service is mentioning that this storm has quickly weakened, so that's why they have canceled this tornado warning. I'm sure it will drop out of our system here relatively soon. Sarah.
If you're just joining us now, it is 2 o'clock on the dots right now, so starting to see some of those that were issued until 2 o'clock disappear or be reissued. And this one looks like it goes until 2:30, but Hunter was just mentioning how the National Weather Service is looking to drop this one.
They trimmed it off of Cerro Gordo County.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is still in place for Worth until 2:30.
Okay, and I think that's fair because just as quickly as these spun down, they spin back up, they could spin right back down. So I think that's more of a cautionary warning, but still very much a tornado warning, an active one. So please, Northwood, head to your safe space. And Manly, not a bad idea to get there as well, just at least for another half an hour. Give it some time. You never know where these spin-ups could really just happen. Weather is crazy like that. We see Fertile, Iowa, not too far away. I'm not sure if it's directly included in this tornado warning. It doesn't look like it, but still close enough. So once again, just give yourself a little bit of extra time if you can to stay in your safe space. Not giving the all clear for this area quite yet. This does include a very long stretch of 65 as well. So people driving, if you know somebody who may be on the roadway, give them a ring. They probably know that there's something going on. Probably quite a bit of rainfall falling on them. Some strong winds as well. But just looking at the velocity signature, not seeing much in the way of actual rotation, but there was earlier, just as Hunter was saying. So they've chosen to keep this up until 2:30. Are you going back through time there, Hunter?
Yeah, I'm going to see what we got here. When it came out of Cerro Gordo County, probably that right there.
Yep.
And then when it moved up in towards Worth County, yeah, it's slightly weakened a bit. So main circulation looks like it's just to the west of Kensett right now, in between 35 and 65. And it's weak. It doesn't look all too impressive, but of course it could spin up pretty quickly, Sarah.
Absolutely, the favorable environment that these storms have found themselves in. You notice yesterday, when we went into the evening hours after all of those strong storms, it was calm. In fact, there was some clearing in the skies. Most of those storms took the energy, but it didn't exactly leave. We still had plenty of moisture from those fresh rains coming down. And earlier today, I saw the fog that was out, so we had dew points right next to basically the temperatures. Temperatures went up. We saw plenty of sunshine and still seeing some of that sunshine further to the southeast. That puts in some fuel, some heat. It really gives these storms a lot to work with as they move across. So once again, we find ourselves kind of the target point for a lot of this severe weather across the area. And it was very quick that a lot of this developed because our chances for severity were not as high yesterday as they became as we discovered that more of this environment did not dissipate as much as what was originally in the forecast. That is why weather is so dynamic and why we're standing here right now interrupting programming is because the changes are so fast, so quick. And Hunter, it looks like you're focusing on the Mason City area, Cerro Gordo County here.
So we're going to look at this severe thunderstorm warning right now, Sarah. Now, the reason I pull this up, it is issued until 2:45. Guifeng, I want you to get the Mason City Live Eye in preview, and I'll let you know when I'll take it. But as of right now, this is warned until 2:45 p.m., 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. If you look at radar, it doesn't look like much too impressive storm, but still it's a pretty decent line. And along this line, a pretty decent shelf cloud. You look at the live eye in Mason City, if you take it full, Guifeng, look at that.
Oh, wow.
There's your shelf cloud on top of our transmitter right at our Mason City studios. That's looking west. So it's a clear shelf cloud, very beautiful cloud. That is for sure.
Yeah, beautiful as it is. We were talking about this yesterday when we had the rainbow kind of next to where that tornado-warned storm near Heartland was. And Mother Nature, absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning, but very dangerous, very powerful. And that is what this shelf cloud is showing. I mean, that's you, Hunter, scrolling right?
Yes.
Just showing the sheer size of this shelf cloud. So Mason City, you can easily see this. Just a quick look to the west. It is coming in, and it is coming in strong. So get ready for some strong winds and some very powerful rain. The heavy rain is enough to make things very difficult to drive on roadways, and visibility becomes an issue, which is always dangerous. This is currently, it looks like, going over 35 with some of the heaviest of the rain right now, and as it moves across 35, it will make its way into Mason City and many other cities along 65. So yeah, absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous shelf cloud, but absolutely dangerous as well. Oh, that's interesting too. You can see that deluge of rain just coming down at the edge of that storm cloud, the shelf cloud there. Crazy.
Very nice.
Very nice, yeah. But it does tell you this is a very powerful storm system. And although it doesn't look all that impressive when it comes to the radar, that shelf cloud, it tells you there's winds, there's gusts connected to it. It's severe warned as we see that polygon. It almost looks like it's almost the entirety of Cerro Gordo County minus this tiny little corner right there. And of course we have the tornado warning just to the north of that. Now it looks like some good news further north, back into southern Minnesota we go. Steele County's tornado warning does look like it was dropped off there. Still have an active tornado warning in Freeborn County though, just north of Albert Lee area to the northeast and heading towards 14. So we're going to keep an eye on that. That was a confirmed tornado at one point. And then we continued to try to follow some of that rotation as it began to get closer to a severe warned storm, which is barreling toward Rochester as we speak. And there it is right there. Wow, this is quite a thick area of that red, that heavy rainfall. Our biggest concern here, it's kind of doing exactly what it did yesterday. Interestingly enough, that bow that came out of the storm is breaking apart. And because of that, Rochester didn't really get as much, but then I look behind it and I mean, this is the real threat right here. This is the real threat. This thick area of the deep reds there indicating the heavy rainfall. And yes, it's all coming towards Rochester, moving through places like Casson as we speak. Dodge Center, oh wow, there it is. There we go, changing over to velocity gives us a very nice look at where some of that is. This is a little concerning right here just to the south of Dodge Center. It's pretty wide though, so I'm not going to get too worried about it at the moment, but it still signals, Hunter, for sure that we've got some very strong winds and yes, some in-cloud rotation going on with this very large storm.
Yeah, that's for sure, Sarah. I mean, the biggest thing here, yes, it does still have that characteristic of a bow. Within the storm itself, we are seeing that surge, we'll call it, of air and, of course, winds pushing in towards Dodge Center, and eventually it will be Rochester. But yeah, on the back side, there's some sort of rotation. Maybe this could be a rear flank downdraft, a fancy term for winds just exiting out the back of the storm and pushing out. Or it could be rotation. So I'm sure the National Weather Service is keeping a very close eye on this, and if it warrants it, might get a tornado warning. But as of right now, just something to keep an eye on over the next couple of minutes. Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what we were wondering when we were looking at this not too long ago, this tornado warning that you can see right here heading into Blooming Prairie. The rotation was right about here, right around 218, and we're curious to see how these two were going to interact with each other as this started to approach this bowing storm. So interestingly enough, yep, still seeing, I would say that that's still some rotation there. Again, we're at the very edge of the radar. That's why we're seeing the purple right here, but it's giving us at least a decent look right over Blooming Prairie. So no doubt it's very windy over Blooming Prairie as we speak. And then of course we've got the bow that's just pushing east. Dodge Center currently dealing with those strong winds. Casson, you're next. Hayfield, you're next as well. And then after that, Byron, then eventually moving into Rochester, Claremont. You're also really in that line of fire as we speak, and exiting right now. 56, portions of 14, also another very well-traveled road. Now, a little bit on the lucky side, if you want to call it that we are starting to see some of this activity a little earlier than, say, yesterday when many of us were on the roads for the evening commute. It is now almost 2:10, it's 2:08 to be exact. So a little earlier, less people on the roadway, but still kind of the end of the lunch commute, and some people, like truckers, they are just out there 24/7. So very good idea if you are dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning. So that is a lot of us traveling 14, heading to the west here. Maybe just stop, pull over for just a little bit, let this storm blow through, and then you can continue on your way. Because it didn't look like there was much behind all of this to the point where they did take away that tornado warning.
No, so Sarah, when this whole line finally pushes over any given location, after it, severe threat's done, pretty much. Now, yes, it is coming in about, say, from this morning's model guidance, about an hour or two earlier than expected, but still, behind it, you see no warnings. Yeah, you have some redeveloping cells, but this line is using up a lot of the energy that we have available today. Behind it is a lot more cloud cover, so we're going to be a lot more stable. These storms not able to break through that stability of our atmosphere, and they'll have some storm chances, that's for sure, but I'm maybe not seeing any chances for severe weather as we head past this main line and as it skirts eastward. Sarah.
Which, yes, and that is absolutely some good news. You know, I was taking a look at all these warnings that really just along this storm at the moment, and that's really how you know the National Weather Service says, yes, this entire thing is very strong. It's going into a very ripe environment. I mean, look at this. Look at all of this sunshine. We're seeing these just pop up just like that, and these become very dangerous as well. These storms that we're seeing, these little cells right along 63, similarly to yesterday, because they have the potential, these individual cells, to spin up a tornado very quickly. So, of course, all eyes on what's popping up here, not to mention what's already in existence. Yeah, awesome. Looking at the temperatures and dew points. So what we're looking at here is, look at all this orange. This is where these storms are headed, into this heat, into these 80s, 86 degrees right now in Decorah with a dew point of 73. Anytime you get above that 70-degree mark, that means humidity, that means power, that means fuel for storms. Look at Charles City. Charles City always tends to read a little higher, just a location of the sensor, but 84 degrees and even just a dew point at 75, if we were to knock off 2 degrees there, is insane. Preston, 77 degrees right now when it comes to the dew point. So 84 over 77, that screams fuel to us meteorologists, and that is where these storms are headed. So the concern for this area that has been soaking up that sunshine is 100% there. And if I saw correctly, Hunter, the tornado watch is not for all of our area this time, but does include our southeast, there we go, southeast counties here. Were these 4 counties included?
No.
Okay, so just catching up on the information as I'm rolling into the station here. Thank you, Hunter. So that's good news, but we are clearly still seeing that severe thunderstorm warning. So just because we may not be under a tornado watch doesn't mean that the potential is not there. Dangerous storms all about, and then most definitely the following counties definitely have that potential, especially as I see these popping up here. These have me concerned, Hunter, but I know the main focus is this main line right here.
Yep, exactly. And there's really no other information from the National Weather Service as of yet. They're going through a lot of stuff right now. But of course, our one lone tornado warning at this time is still up in towards northwestern portions of Freeborn County. If I throw on velocity so we can get a better idea of this, and I'll even tack on some information regarding this tornado warning. It's still in place until the next 3 minutes, so it might be able to drop off soon. Circulation-wise, it's kind of hard right now.
Yeah.
It looks like it kind of got swallowed up by that storm.
And that was, yeah, it does look like it just was eaten away. If you go back a little bit again, Hunter, we can see. So originally we were pinpointing it right about here where the circulation, you see that big bright green spot, and then as it was moving northward towards this severe warned storm, it just kind of got sucked into it, which would be good news. Kind of keeping an eye on this right here. It's not warned or anything right now, but